Well, let's begin round 3 now. This will be our final round, and after the last speaker speaks, I'll have some closing remarks. So we'll go ahead and start with Mr. Hanna. Mr. Hanna, you have 2 minutes to describe your point of view on why you want to be a board member.
First of all, I would like to express my thanks to The Voice for hosting this forum, and also for the coverage they have provided to us and to the village throughout the years. I hope with the new ownership it will continue to be as great. A few years ago, I was appointed to the Research and Special Projects Committee. The first thing that, when I walked in there, I was handed a 5-year financial plan for the village, and along with the other members was asked to analyze it and report back to Dave Johnston and Wayne Copeland any things that we felt in there that should be strengthened. We did that. That was an eye-opener. That was an education to learn what goes on in this village and what is planned over the next 5 years. Following that, the next educational bit that I had was to analyze a report that the then director, James Ray, provided to the POA board, and that really got us into a whole bunch of other areas outside of the 5-year financial plan, some of which were interesting and others were kind of onerous, but anyhow, it was a good education. We also, over the years, have studied the question of should the amenities be a part of only fee structure, or should they be subsidized? That came out of the Ray report. We also looked at should there be a commercial fee imposed upon businesses that operate in the village. And lastly, we have just this year taken another look at the 5-year financial plan, looking out over the next 5 years. And in addition to just the financials, we also looked at the capital spending plan and the personnel plan. All of these have been very educational endeavors for me. That, plus the fact that I regularly attend the board meetings, puts me, I believe, in a position that I can hit the ground running because I have a pretty good understanding of what goes on in the village. Not in toto, because this village is a very many-faceted operation.
I was waiting on the mic. But
I didn't blow that whistle.
Very good. Thank you.
We have a very well-managed village.
I'm sorry. We need to move on to the next candidate.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, that's 2 minutes. Yes, sir. That was it. The red light went off.
You got a quick 2 minutes.
She was blowing the whistle, too.
Mr. Watson, you're next.
Thank you. First of all, I want to tell you that I'm sorry that I'm a shaky speaker. If I can look you in the eye, I'll be able to talk a lot smoother. I think that I can communicate with people on the board when I can look and talk. And I want to also thank the POA Village and the Village Voice for holding this meeting today, and thank you, the property owners, for attending. I also want to thank my wife, Jenna, and all my friends who have encouraged me in my quest to be elected to the POA board. I feel one of the reasons I'm qualified to serve on the board and of directors because I have lived and worked both in the village for the last 9 years. I've got to know through my job a lot of the village, cross-section of the village people, and also I've got to learn a lot of the concerns of the people that work for the village that come and go on a daily basis. I have the ability to work with others toward a common goal, listening to the experience of other board members as well as suggesting new suggestions. And I feel that non-resident as well as resident property owners needs a representative of good common sense along with the ability to plan the future while meeting concerns of the present. I'm involved in local and state politics, presently serving as the vice chair of the Garland County Central Committee, and I feel I can be a voice for the village on issues needed assistance from the county and the state government. In preparation for this position, I attended the Garland County Community College, taking a semester on Arkansas local and state government. Uh-oh.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Mr. Atkins?
Yeah. For many of you, I'm the unknown candidate up here. We have 3 candidates that have served on various committees and have really been beneficial to the village. And so they're known in the village. Of course, Bob, his wife, has been on the board, so he's known. Many of you have never even seen my name before, unless you saw one of my signs on one of my 100 lots out there. So this was very important to me this afternoon. I appreciate the Village Voice hosting this and taking care of everything for us. I do have copies available in the lobby after the forum of the article that was in the Voice yesterday, if you didn't get a chance to see it. I also have a website, jeffatkins.com, JEFFATKINS.com. It's going to be updated throughout the rest of the election process. I'm going to have some responses to some of the things that have gone on here today in the next couple of days, so I invite you to go check that out. But I think some interest was brought up and raised as far as my real estate experience here in the village and motivations that I have. The motivations I have are the same motivations you have. I want to be here a long time, and I want this place to be as good as it can be. And I have 100 motivators that I pay $3,200 a month average in POA dues on. So and they're all current. So unlike we do have some other investors that are not current, but that's okay. We have basically what I figure 15, 20, 25% of the village is owned by investors. That number goes up and it goes down. But it's one of the reasons that we don't have lots for sale for $300 anymore. It's one of the reasons that we don't have near as many lots behind in their assessments. It's the future of the village. We have to have the lots that aren't necessarily the most buildable lots or the most beautiful lots. Somebody needs to pay the dues on those, and a lot of times that's investors. And also I want to stress that I do have other financial background, whether we're done.
Ms. Jackson?
Thank you. First of all, let me say that I would possibly concede to Mr. Adkins that Cooper does contract for the roads, and we'll find that answer out later. But I want to thank each of you for attending today, and I want to thank The Voice for hosting this forum that allows property owners to get a sense of who the candidates are and what we stand for. You know, government was probably my least favorite subject in school, but once I got out in the real world, I realized that people making the rules at each level of government affect my life on a daily basis, and most assuredly, usually my pocketbook. There are many facets to governing, but the bottom line is how effectively that you are managing someone else's money. And as long as you keep that in perspective, you will have done your job right. Now, there are a host of issues facing the board. Among them are the declaration amendments. We've talked about them today. I've personally worked to develop the initiatives coming before the voters in the fall, and I support both of them. But regardless of where I stand on those issues, I have but one vote, and the decision will be made by you, the property owners. This election is not about the declaration amendments. That debate will come later. This election is about who is best qualified to represent you in making POA decisions. As a board member, I would employ fiscal controls. I would seek legislative remedies where needed. I would continue long-range planning. I would encourage fellow board members to enhance public safety services, and I would solicit feedback from both non-residents and residents. I believe the village is in good hands and is being run in a fiscally sound manner. Reserves look good, and planning is being done for the future, and that speaks volumes. Had someone not had the foresight 20 or 30 years ago to do that same thing, we wouldn't be what we are today. I appreciate your time, and I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Mr. Day?
Thank you. I appreciate you coming, and we're thankful for your interest and you showing up today. As you sit down to decide who to vote for, I would just ask that you would look over my background and try to judge my capability and my experience. I think that you will find that I've successfully managed a lot of people and a lot of projects, and I provided leadership to numerous boards and organizations. I'd also like for you to look at the activities that I've been involved with since I moved to Hot Springs Village 10 years ago, and then judge the dedication and commitment that I have to Hot Springs Village. I have tried hard to promote Hot Springs Village through the Governmental Affairs Committee, through state boards, through some state agencies, through the Saline County Economic Development Corporation, and I think that they certainly have a newfound respect for the village and support us. If you kind of like what you see in reviewing that information and you think that I would be a good candidate for you to support, I would appreciate your vote. I'll try very hard to understand the issues, and sorry.
Well, folks, that concludes round 3. This is obviously a very difficult process, and I think we owe them all a big round of applause. This is the second year that I've been the moderator for this event. This is one of many years that I've been to this event that The Voice has sponsored it. And I'll tell you, this isn't easy. They have no idea what the questions are going to be. They're setting up here in front of all of you. Can't see half of you because of the lights. And this is the most passionate, intelligent group that I've sat with as I've been a moderator. I really appreciate their time. I also encourage you, they're going to take their time and go to the lobby. They all have things they want to say. 2 minutes isn't much. And I encourage you to spend some time with them. Mr. Hanna, several of them have been cut off by the light. And I encourage you to meet them in the lobby. And this concludes today's forum. Thank you very much for coming.